Wakati nilimshika mkono kuangalia damu imetoka wapi, ndio mtoto wangu akaanguka chini na kumwangalia nikaona ako na shimo kwa kichwa.
A quiet evening in Ndumberi, Kiambu County turned into a nightmare on July 7th, 2025. Inside her home, 12-year-old Bridget Wainaina, a class 7 pupil, was struck by a stray police bullet during the violent Saba Saba protests. Her school uniform, once a symbol of her dreams, now haunts Kenya as a reminder of a future stolen. Bridget's death has ignited fury across the nation, with demonstrations erupting in Kiambu the following day, July 8th, as residents demanded justice for a child killed in the place she should have been safest. The Saba Saba protests, marking the 35th anniversary of Kenya's 1990 pro-democracy movement, were meant to honor a legacy of resistance against autocracy. Instead, they descended into chaos. Nationwide clashes between demonstrators and police left at least 11 dead, with reports of tear gas, water cannons, and live ammunition used to disperse crowds.
What the fuck?
In Nairobi, roads to key government sites, including President William Ruto's residence and parliament, were barricaded with a razor wire as young Kenyans led by the so-called Gen Z chanted "Ruto must go" and waved placards mourning those killed in past protests. Bridget's story cuts deeper. She wasn't on the streets, clashing with the police or chanting slogans. She was at home in Kirigwini, Ndumberi, when the bullet pierced her safety. Eyewitnesses described a scene of chaos as protests spilled into quieter communities, with police firing indiscriminately. Her mother, devastated, recounted the final moments of her daughter's life, a narrative that has since spread across social media, fueling demands for accountability.
Jana tulikuwa kwa nyumba na mtoto wangu muda wa 6:20 hapo, na ndio tukasikia kitu imelia na sauti kubwa sana tukiwa kwa nyumba kama tumekaa chini, na kumwangalia kwa mkono nikaona akona damu. Wakati niliona akona damu, tulidhani ni kitu imemkata, kama ni kitu imepasuka. Wakati nilimshika mkono kuangalia damu imetoka wapi, ndio mtoto wangu akaanguka chini na kumwangalia nikaona akona shimo kwa kichwa. Ndio nikapiga duru, baba yake akakuja, alikuwa narisha kuku.
Kuzi kama mtoto wangu alikufa nini? Alikuwa tu ameketi kwa nyumba. Just kusimama tu kuziangalilia hivyo mtoto wangu anashutiwa. Nao maserikali wanaenda tu wanaenda tu hivi hata waangalie kwenye wanashuti. Just kuua jiwaona huruma. Wakumbuke ni wazazi. At least watutolea watoto wetu kwa mahospitali kwenye wamelazwa pamoja ili watutengenezea tujuzi kutulipa. Watendewe ya kiao.
Hii kitendo tunashindwa itachunguzwa na nani? Kwa sababu tunaona kuna watu ambao wamekuja kwa hii maandamano ambao hatuwajui, watu wametoka sijui wapi, wanakuja na tunaona wanaungana na polisi wanafanya hii maandamano. Tukiambiwa polisi ati wao ndio watachunguza hawa watu, watawachunguza namna gani na wao ndio wanafanya kazi pamoja? We need a third party kwa hii kuweza kufanya hiyo uchunguzi. Lakini kwa report, tumepewa report kuwa mtu mmoja ndiye amekufa. This is not hiyo sio accurate. Hiyo sio accurate hata kidogo. Na tunauliza kwa nini wanaficha? Kwa nini wanaficha wale watu ambao?
Posts on X captured the public's grief and rage, with users calling Bridget's death a stark reminder of Kenya's dark past of unchecked police violence. Kenya's history of police brutality is no secret. Human rights groups, including the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, have documented a troubling pattern of extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances. Just weeks before Bridget's death, the killing of Albert Ojwang, a teacher and blogger in police custody, sparked nationwide outrage, adding fuel to the youth-led protests. The KNCHR reported at least 19 deaths during protests on June 25th, 2025, marking the anniversary of 2024's anti-tax demonstrations where over 60 people were killed. Activists argue that the police operate as an occupying force, a relic of colonial era structures plagued by poor training and political influence. The Saba Saba protests of 2025 were driven by more than just historical remembrance. Frustration with President William Ruto's administration has reached a boiling point. Elected in 2022 with promises of economic progress, Ruto now faces accusations of corruption, governance failures, and enabling police impunity. Demonstrators, particularly Kenya's youths, are demanding his resignation, citing the high cost of living, abductions of government critics, and a lack of accountability for protest-related deaths. The KNCHR condemned the use of excessive force, noting the presence of criminal gangs collaborating with police in counties like Kiambu and Nairobi, further escalating tensions. Bridget's death has become a rallying cry. Social media is flooded with calls for justice, and on the ground, it is the same case, with Kenyans directly naming government officials they believe are complicit. Her image in her school uniform has become a heartbreaking symbol shared widely as a reminder of the cost of impunity. The KNCHR and other human rights organizations are under pressure to respond, having previously documented protest-related violations. Yet, critical questions linger. Was Bridget's shooting intentional or a reckless accident by the police? The government's response has so far been inadequate. While President Ruto has urged protesters to maintain peace, his administration has yet to address Bridget's case directly. Interior Minister Kipchumba Murkomen has called the protests terrorism disguised as dissent. He went further to congratulate the police for a work well done, a statement that has only deepened public anger. Meanwhile, incidents like the raid on the Kenya Human Rights Commission offices, where mothers demanding an end to arbitrary arrests were attacked, highlight the government's heavy-handed approach. Kenya is at a crossroads. Bridget Wainaina's death is not just a tragedy, but a test of whether the nation can break free from a cycle of violence and impunity. The colonial-era policing structures, criticized for fostering brutality, remain largely unchanged. As one activist put it, the abductions and extrajudicial killings happening today are more rampant than ever. For Bridget's family, the pain is personal, but for Kenya, her loss is a collective wound, a reminder of promises unfulfilled and justice delayed.
But currently you're seeing we're being abducted, we're being killed, we're being followed from our homesteads and taken to police stations and killed in police stations. We go to the streets, we are being shot, we are being killed. And the president has been addressing this. Documentaries have been done by BBC. Young people have written to the UN. We've tried to even hack systems during live sessions at the UN for this matter to be seen in the world and see action taken. But I haven't seen any action apart from just tweets from the American embassy, from different embassies saying we're in solidarity with young people from Kenya. So my question is, are there specific thresholds or maybe legal mechanism that must be met or even triggered for the United Nations to even act on such issues? Because this is a situation of Kenya, but there's Sudan, there's Gaza. What don't we know that we need to do to trigger the UN to act? Which now goes back to what she has said. At this point, personally, I don't trust systems because it's more of systems with governments and the negotiations and the benefits and not necessarily protecting the citizen. So if there's something that we don't know that we're supposed to do, probably to trigger the UN for action, this would be the right time for us to know.
As protests continue, the nation watches. Will Bridget's death spark meaningful reform, Or will it be another name added to a growing list of victims? Her story demands answers, not just for her family, but for a country yearning for a future where no child fears a stray bullet in their own home. What do you think about this whole incident that led to the deaths of Bridget Wainaina, a 12-year-old girl? Newsroom, Maisha TV, Ushabi Jr.